Good evening. Tonight, I would like to repeat, almost word for word, just in English, a shmooze that I heard from my uncle Zecher Tzadik Livrocha about 12 years ago. And the reason why I choose to do so is because his yahrzeit is going to be this Shabbos, so tonight's shiur is in his memory, and I figured it would be most appropriate to say over Torah in his memory. But before we start, I want to share with you a fascinating story that showed me once again some hashgacha in the world. A guy calls me up one day. He tells me, Rabbi, I have a situation. So I said, what's the situation? So he says, we can't talk over the phone. So I said, why? He says, because my phones are wired. I said, okay, so we'll welcome the listeners and let's have a conversation. So he says, no, it's the government who's listening in. I said, how do you know? I figured another guy with phobias or whatever. He says, I'm in a lot of trouble. I said, so who says I want to meet you? I don't want my phone's wired. No, you got to help me, this, that. I need schoolers. I'm looking for schoolers. Okay, I said, come over. So he comes over and I said, what's the story and what do you need schoolers for? So he explains me in a nice way that he did a few not kosher things, let's just put it mildly, in business. Now with the real estate bubble and the mortgages and the fake incomes, so he had a piece of the action. And the government doesn't really like people that do things like that. And he was the head of a big company based not far from here. And they went after him and they caught him. And they got hardcore evidence that he forged documents and this, all different things, very bad things. And he tells me, I'm looking for schoolas to get out of trouble. So I said, I'll tell you what the biggest gula to get out of trouble is. Don't get into it in the first place. So he says, yeah, but that's too late. I did it already. Come on, give me something creative that I should get out of this mess. So I didn't know what to tell him. So I told him, before I'm willing to talk to you, the first thing I want you to do is promise me you'll never do it again. That's number one. Then we can start talking. So he tells me, believe me, I learned my lesson. It's never happening again. So I said, and did you steal money from people privately, especially Jews? Because if you have to return it, there's no way around that. So he says, no, that I never did. I said, okay, Baruch Hashem, at least that. I said, so what's the issue? He says, there's clear-cut evidence, there's no way around it. I'm going for an indictment. And the minimum sentence for what I'm going through is 2 years in prison. And sadly he looks at me and he says, I have a family and kids. Suddenly he remembers. Why didn't he remember when he did all the stupid things? I don't know. And my wife and Parnasa, and they froze all my accounts in the meantime. We don't have money. And I need help. So I told him, listen, I'll give you a segula. It doesn't say it in his farm. It's off the top of my head. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I have no way to tell you. But I'm willing to back my words with a money-back guarantee, because this is a very expensive segula. So he tells me, what's the segula? So I tell him very simple. You say the minimum sentence that you're facing is 2 years, right? Yeah. So 2 years you're going to be locked in some cell with a bunch of people over there that are not going to teach you Gemara exactly. Correct. So how many hours are there in a day? 24 hours a day. How many minutes are there in the hour? 60 minutes an hour. I said, so you're going to be missing 24 hours a day of Torah times 365 days a year, 60 minutes an hour, 2 years straight. He says, yeah, I'll be able to learn in prison, whatever, but I said, no, but most probably prison is a mokum hamatuna. I don't know if you're allowed to learn unless you have a clean room. You're in trouble. He says, yeah. I said, so I'll make you a deal. We're going to come to God and say this. We will publicize in the world, in your merit, 18 times the amount of Torah that you're going to be missing. I said, so multiply 24 hours a day times 365 days times the 2 years times 18. And that amount of hours, we'll give out CDs. An average CD of mine is an hour. We'll donate that amount of CDs. We'll give them out all over the world. And in that schus, Hashem should help. It should be fine. I said, but that's an expensive project. Do the math. It's a lot of thousands. So I'm giving you a money-back guarantee that if it doesn't work, and you go in for 2 years or more, then I reimburse you on the money you invested in giving out the CDs, because I wouldn't mind having that zchus either, so it's worth it for me to do too. Guy looks at me and says, Rabbi, it was one technical issue. They froze all my accounts. I don't really have money, but let me see what I can do. I'll come up with something. Calls me back the next morning. We got a deal. So I can't pay the whole thing at once, but I'm promising it's getting paid every week, every 2 weeks. I'll send money, and you just go run with the CDs. Put them out. I said, let's go for it. So we started a few months ago a massive CD campaign in this guy's zchus. Now, he didn't want his name put on the CDs for obvious reasons, he's not so proud of his name right now. But Hashem knows. And suddenly I learned that there are more countries in the world than I was ever aware of. Because we put on the internet, if you want CDs for your shul, wherever you are in the world, just send an email, we'll ship you some. And we're getting, I think it was 60-something countries or something sent us emails that they want CDs. So I never even knew there were that many countries, honestly. It was good stuff. And we're sending them out by the hundreds of thousands of some days of the week. And this guy is hoping and praying. A few weeks ago he calls me up. And he says, I got good news for you. I said, what's the good news? He says, you don't got to pay me back. I said, what does that mean? So I went into court today, and it's the first step of the trial where they read you all the charges, and then the lawyers say they need time to prepare, so on and so forth. He says the judge reads a whole bunch of charges, and I'm already hearing worse things than I expected. The lawyers are looking at me, everybody's tense in the room, and all the way at the end the judge looks at the prosecution and he says, well, based on what I'm reading here, I don't see enough evidence for a case. Case dismissed. The prosecutor starts screaming, what do you mean no evidence? This is hardcore evidence. You don't get more evidence than this. Judge says, you want appeal. Prosecution has the right to appeal the judge's thing. He says, but in my courts, there's no case. Out. He says, Rabbi, pray hard that the next time when the prosecution's appealing now this verdict, that the thing should continue going through, because if it goes through, you don't owe me money. If not, you're in bigger debt than you are already. So we're praying. I learned an unbelievable thing. This is a school. It's not a school. This was a made-up fundraising stunt. But what was the idea over here? It's very simple. When you produce something valuable for Hashem, Midah keneged midah, Hashem produces the same thing in value for you. And it works like a science. I don't look at this beged and nes. I think these things are teva. This is the teva of the world. Produce for Hashem in a certain field, and in return, midah keneged midah, you get the same thing in the same field. In this week's parsha, we get a bracha. Yivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. The simple person who doesn't learn Rashi, if Hashem's giving us bracha, what does it mean? That we should be tzaddikim and yirei shamayim, right? All the good things. But look at Rashi. Rashi doesn't say that. Rashi says, Yivarechecha she'yizborchu nechasecha, that you should be rich. V'yishmerecha, and God should watch over you. What does he watch over you? So we would expect we shouldn't be sick, we shouldn't disappear in some Air France plane and whatever, different things. No. V'yishmerecha shelo yavayu alecha shoididim lital mamoincha. The robbers shouldn't be able to come and steal your money from you. You should be protected. Madoff shouldn't hit you. This is the whole big bracha. This is what the kohanim have to bench Klal Yisrael. Hashem should give you money, and you should always have your money. What does that mean? It's an interesting thing that was the punchline. So of course, in today's economy, everybody says, of course, because if ain't kemach ain't Torah, no money, we can't do mitzvahs. So that's step one. I expect a little bit of a better pshat than that, so we're going to try and work on it based on the shmuz I heard from my uncle. My uncle started off by saying he once learned a very big Musar Haskell from a woman. A woman...
No, sorry, is this about the great minivan? Could you cut this second? Sorry.
A woman who is sitting on a bus a row over from him, and it's a crammed bus in Yerushalayim, and this lady hears another woman complaining, it's so stuffy, you can't move, you can't breathe, Egged, they're crazy, they don't take care of us. And this woman looks at the other lady, and she says, what stop are you getting off? I'm getting off 4 stops from now. So he says, even if there's traffic, 4 stops from now, it's about 5 minutes. 5 minutes to be a little crowded. No, no, no. In Hebrew, it's like Gval Yodim. Shortly, we're getting off the bus. Big deal. My uncle said he went home that night and he said to himself, wait a second. In this world, most of us, our lives, in one way or the other, is a little bit crowded. This is not comfortable, and this doesn't work right, and this problem. And as soon as we're done with all the problems, comes a new series of problems. How do you get through a time like that? Lo nola, it's not the end of the world. Gval Yodim. 70 years, 80 years, 100 years, a few more stops, and we're already a foot into Gan Eden. I remember the speech by my Sheva Brachos that my uncle gave. This one drilled into me. He looked, my first night Sheva Brachos, right? The oldest nephew getting married, the oldest grandson, the whole sort of celebration. And he was the entertaining speaker. He gets up there and he says, Yaakov, let me tell you the best speech you can get. So I said, what's that? He says, in life, you have a few stops that you make. Major stops. The first one's your bris. Next one's your bar mitzvah. The third one's your wedding. And the fourth is your funeral. You already went through 3. Be aware. No, no, Gval Yodim. We're already going off. Not the end of the world. Piece 1 of a puzzle. But let's put it all together. When the first astronauts went up to space, so NASA sold the world in order to be able to get the taxpayer to pay for this, that this is the most important thing that could be. We have to know what's going on the moon. It's very important information. I remember a few years ago, the president got on the news and said he has major news for the nation. I'm thinking, who knows what, right? Maybe they found a cure for cancer or something. What? That the astronauts figured out that there may have been water on Mars. I said, who cares? Right? This is worth billions of dollars a year of money to find out, was there water on Mars or not? It's very important. These astronauts, they go up to space, dangerous mission, very dangerous mission. First time it's done, it's even more dangerous because you don't know what's going to be. And they come back. When they get back from their journey, with literally tens of thousands of people waiting to cheer them on as they walk off the space shuttle. Why? Because they just went on a dangerous mission. And what the government sold us was an important mission. And officially they're doing this for us, and that's why us, the taxpayers, are paying for it. And they're heroes because they did something that was never done before. They came down, they went up, they came down, and they're here safe. Girls, when we're sent into this world, instead of going up in the space shuttle, so we're going the other way, down. But the same idea. Sent on a mission. An important mission. Not a mission that the government decided, that Hashem's Bezdin Shamala decided is an important mission. It's a very dangerous mission. Very few people make it out okay. Most people make it out damaged on the way. And the value of the mission is 100 times more unlimited times more valuable than knowing if there's water in space or not. And those who make it alive through the mission, and Neshama meaning is alive, when they get back, don't have thousands, have trillions and trillions of people cheering for them. And not just people, malachim that were created for from their own mitzvahs. And that's before Gan Eden, that's before even coming to Hashem. That's just the welcome committee. You made it through your mission into the world. Problem is, it's a lot more complicated to be in this world than it is to be on space for a few days or weeks. Because the details and the risk along the way is so much greater. How do we work around that? So there's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, third parak. Akavya bin Mahala Loimer, right? We read a few weeks ago. Histakel b'shloisha dvorim ve'inat tabo lidei avera. Pay attention, be aware of these 3 things, and you'll never sin. Not that you're not going to actually sin. You're never even going to come to a situation that you'll sin. You'll stop a step before already. Meaning, you won't be capable of sinning. Da'ma'im bas. Basa. Know where you came from. La'onat ha'elech, where you're going to. Lifnei mi'ata din v'cheshbon. Be scared of Hashem. I want to focus a little bit based on my uncle's teachings. What does it mean? Da'me'ayim basa. Know where you came from. So he gave a mashal, which possibly we used once before in a different context. So imagine the President of the United States, is going to a world summit. And he goes, Air Force One, they take him, world summit, he shows up. Here's the king of the world, the most powerful person in the world. And he gets off the plane, and he sees a little cat that's limping on the side over there, running around. And he stops the whole welcoming committee and all the guards and everybody. He calls over one of the heads of the chief of staff over there. So you see that cat? Looks like a homeless, wounded cat. Bring it to me, I want to take care of it. Okay, President says, you do, even though it doesn't make sense always. They bring him the cat, and this becomes his new project. Instead of taking care of, half the world and mixing into business that's not his, he found something more important. Takes the cat, he raises him, in the White House now when the new president came in, so finally there's kids in the White House. So they had to reconstruct, to make basketball courts and this and that to accommodate. So this president, I guess, let's say, had to do little different things. Cat playground, the whole thing. And for years and years, the president of the United States, during his whole term, every day, goes down to the cat, everything okay with you? You need anything? He brings in the best veterinarians, the best food, the best this, the best of the best. How much HaKadosh there's a cat like that? Oh, the president of the U.S. Here's Mr. Powerful, who stopped everything he was doing in the world, put everything on hold, and said, you, cat, come, let me take care of you. That's the mashal. The nimshal is very simple. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we say in davening on Shabbos, during the week also, but on Shabbos we elaborate even more, has srofim, oifanim, chayes HaKodesh, unlimited malachim and ideas and angels that we don't even understand what these things are, some of them. Has everything going on. All the neshamas of all the tzaddikim, everything. He puts everything on hold every morning, and he takes the time to put me back into the world and you back into the world, neshama into the body, make sure everything works more or less, and send us off and wish us luck with the day. The Rebbeinu Shalom, with everything he has, this is what's important. How much HaKadosh do we owe the Hashem for that? Just understand that the greatest entity of the world, me, a Yid, each and every one of us, is most important to him. Important enough to stop everything else. Take care of him. Take care of her. That alone is enough of a reason never to sin. The begida, the betrayal of sin after understanding this, is so great that it's almost like impossible to do at that point. So the Yetzer Hara has a game that he makes you forget this when you do the sin, and that's the way he wins you. Because if you'd remember, you wouldn't be able to sin anymore. But this is the musik of HaKadosh HaTayv Nitzchi, an eternal debt that we have to the Rebbeinu Shalom. What's the other catch of the Yetzer Hara? And he makes us look down at ourselves. What the medical world calls a low self-esteem, in Chazal, is not a medical term and doesn't need medication for that matter either. It's just somebody who doesn't understand the value of a Yid. It's Atzas HaYetzer, the Medrash calls it in a few places. Yetzer Hara knows if I know my greatness, I'm not going to ruin my greatness over a not kosher movie. It's just not worth it. I'm not going to ruin my greatness over a provocative way of dressing. It's just not worth it. I'm not going to ruin Hashem's creation over a stupid piece of gossip. It's just not worth it. So what does he do? Comes to a person, you're nothing, you're worthless. And once I'm worthless, I'll behave worthless too. It's like a homeless guy, tell him to take a shower. He doesn't understand what you want from him. I'm homeless. Homeless people stink, so that's it. Same thing. Yetzer Hara comes to a person, tells him you're homeless, your neshama's homeless, you're worthless. And that's it, a homeless person is homeless. So you can smell from up there, it doesn't make a difference anymore. What's going to be the biggest shock after 120 to a Jew? This is a Chazal, it's a Zohar also. That Hashem is going to come to a person, he's not going to start negotiating this sin and that sin. That's din b'cheshbon, that's steps later. Way before that, he's going to come to a person and show him, look what you could have been. That's it, case closed. And you're going to feel so stupid. I could have been somebody so great, and what? I settled for nothing over because I felt I wasn't good enough? That alone is going to be the biggest einish. I could have been so great, and what became of me? Just that shock alone. Imagine they come to a girl and they show you could have been so shnia. You could have been Rachel Imeinu. And you could be, right? The Gemara says you could be Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Gemara and Brachos. That alone is going to be a shot. Let's go a step further into the way we behave in our lives. And I'm telling you, if we merge the way we behave with friends to the way we behave with Hashem, and at least have the same relationship with Hashem as we have with a friend, lahavdil, this guy would be in good shape. Imagine your guy's best friend had a kid, and she's making a bris. Would it even cross your mind to show up to the bris without a gift or a check or something? No. And if you didn't have one or whatever, you go crazy to buy one last minute, pressure, this, that. I remember once a friend of mine, I called him up, I said, one of our friends is getting married tonight, second marriage, well, we have to go to the wedding. So he says, you could go, I can't go. I said, what do you mean, come? He says, no, I didn't buy him a gift, I'm very tight on cash, so I can't give him money. I'm embarrassed to go home without a gift, I can't do it. I think it's a stupid way of thinking, because here, you're not showing up and not a gift, it's a double avla. At least here, you showed up without a gift, it's a half avla. I said, second of all, I was planning on giving him a big gift, so we'll cut it in half. You'll give half the money, I'll give half the money. We both gave a gift, problem solved. But I remember the idea of it drilling into me. You don't walk in empty-handed, right? Especially in the Syrian world. Our parents taught us, if God forbid you go for Shabbos somewhere, you don't bring him gifts and this and that, it's like the end of the world. Sometimes I don't invite people because I know it's going to cost them so much to come to me for Shabbos because they come into the rabbi, so they got to buy the whole toy store and the whole gift store and the whole this, mishigas, craziness. But that's understood. We're going somewhere. So now you come to the Rebbeinu Shalom and Elam Haba. Hashem doesn't need your gifts, but you can't come empty-handed. Very stupid feeling to show up to such an event empty-handed. To a friend's birthday party, we come with a card. What about Hashem? This is the idea. If we would behave the way we behave with our friends, with the Rebbeinu Shalom, we have such a different relationship. A friend, you understand not to do that to Hashem? No problem. Something to think about. By the way, I think, and my uncle said this in a deeper way, it could be this is Pshat in the Pasuk. This Nageh Shalosh Regalim, we're a little late because we missed Shavuos over here, but the Torah says when you come to Oil the Regel, 3 Regalim, V'lo yiroeh es penei Hashem reika. Don't come to Hashem empty-handed. You have to bring karbanos, whatever halacha so. What does that mean? So my uncle said, a deep shot. He said, V'lo yiroeh penei Hashem, you won't be capable of seeing the Rebbeinu Shalom reika when you're an empty person. The only way you're capable of seeing Hashem is when you're not a reika and full of emptiness. Elamai, sometimes we get confused. It's not always so clear. Here we're presenting such a simple, clear case. It's not always so clear. For example, a lot of times you see guys are Rasha. We discussed this in many contexts. That's matzliach in life. He has money, he's living it up, he looks happy, he has a big smile on his face. He has it all. And then the questions start. I'm the Shemer Shabbos, and I have such a rough life. And him, the low life, and look how happy he is. Maybe I should be like him. It's not fair, etc. So we've addressed this. Tonight we'll address it with a twist, a new story. I didn't know this story. It's a good story. In Chaleb, in Syria, that's where my ancestors come from, there was one of the big rabbis there. His name was Rav Mordechai Levaton. He was a famous rabbi in Syria. And he was he was from the real Orthodox ones. He used to say what he thought. He wasn't scared of the community. And one of the richest people in the community was a guy who wasn't a Shem Torah mitzvahs. And the pella was, this guy was successful. Whatever he touched became gold in every area. And right away, the guys that weren't so rich and struggled, they started with the questionnaire. Here, he's so good, and me, it's not fair. And this went on for a while. Mordechai saw that people are talking, asking, whatever, so he had to put a stop to it. So how's he going to put a stop to it? So he went to talk to this guy. So he goes to this rich guy and he tells him, listen, there's going to be a day, you're going to die, all your money's going to be worthless then, you're going to have to give din v'cheshbon to the Rebbeinu Shalom. What are you going to say? I was a Russia. What are you going to answer? This guy was a chutzpah. Yeah, he didn't care. And he looks at the rabbi. He tells him, Rabbi, I'm the happiest person in the world. I have everything. I'm one piece of success and fame. What do you want from me? Bug off. The rabbi doesn't give up, and he tells him, listen, I'm telling you. He says, Rabbi, and I have proof that I'm in good shape. Because if God didn't love me, he wouldn't give me all his money. The fact that he gave me more money than you, that shows I'm greater than you are, so you better leave me alone. So the rabbi now has to answer him. He raised the question. So the rabbi tells him, listen, there is a concept that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees a Rasha. And he doesn't want to have a Rasha in Gan Eden. So he takes the mitzvahs that he did, and he has to give him reward. So he gives him all the reward in this world. And the reason why you're so rich is because you must have done a mitzvah. And Hashem is paying you in this world for your mitzvahs. But don't be a fool. So he hears him out. And he tells him, Rabbi, I never did a mitzvah in my life. Trust me. I'm not into that. I don't do mitzvahs, Rabbi. It's not an issue by me. So he tells him one mitzvah he did, whether you like it or not. So he says, oh yeah, what mitzvah is that? He says, bris milah. You were 8 days old, your parents made you a bris, they didn't ask you. And a bris is a mitzvah tzmidis, it's a constant mitzvah every second of the day. So you have a mitzvah. Look at that. So this guy didn't give in. He says, you know what, Rabbi, you think this mitzvah is so valuable? I'll make you a deal. Give me $50, I sell you the mitzvah. All the merits of the mitzvah is yours, $50. Rabbi takes out $50, gives it to him, signs with a mashtar, a contract. You're selling me the schus of your mitzvah's milah for $50, and that's it. 2 days later, this guy gets into his first business problem. A couple of weeks later, his next business problem. In a matter of a month, he loses all his money. This rich dude is now nothing. And he may be a lowlife, but a stupid man he wasn't. And he right away caught what's going on. So he went running back to the rabbi, and he says, Rabbi, I want to buy back my mitzvah. So the rabbi told him, listen, I'm not selling it. He says, what do you mean? He says, to you, a mitzvah is worth $50. So I gave you $50. You were happy. You sold it to me. To me, a mitzvah is priceless. There's nothing you can give me that's going to make me happy. More than that, now you're broke anyway. You don't have money to pay me either way. It's a waste of time. So he's screaming, I didn't know, I learned. It's not fair, feel bad for me. Sell me back my mitzvah. Rabbi says there's only one way I'll sell it back to you. If you take upon yourself to keep all the Torah mitzvahs properly, so then I sell you back the mitzvah. And if not, there's no mitzvah. This guy realized he has no choice. He took upon himself Torah mitzvahs. The rabbi sold him back the mitzvah. Ad kan ma'aseh. Whether he became rich again or not, I don't know. But it's not a riot that he should become rich again, because by now he's no longer a Rasha, so he doesn't have to be rich to be paid as Elam Haba. So it could be he never became rich again. But a Shem Torah mitzvahs that he did become. That's one of the Yetzer Hara's tricks. Make the Rasha look successful, and then you get confused, you forget. Rab Nachman says a sentence that became so famous in the world, it's unbelievable. They made so many songs out of it and everything, unbelievable. Kol ha'olam kuloi, the whole world, Gesher Tzarmo is a very narrow bridge. Nachman ends it off, Vayikale lefachet klal, you shouldn't be so scared of that bridge. But we're going to focus on the first part today, maybe next week we'll talk about the second part. Out of all things, he picked a bridge. Why not? I don't know what. A street, a park, a mountain, like that, something. Bridge. Especially in his days, bridges wasn't such a popular item like today. So, and it's known, those who understand Rab Nachman's Ksavim, not many do, but those who do understand it. No, Rab Nachman was very careful with every word and his big sizes and everything. The pshat's very simple, my uncle said. A person's walking on Route 59, and he loses his balance. So you'll fall 2 feet to the right, 2 feet to the left, but that's the extent of what will happen. God forbid somebody's driving here and you get into an accident. Oh, what's the worst? A little bruise, a little broken bone, but that's it. More or less you're okay. What happens if you're driving on the Verrazano Bridge, 80 miles an hour, head-on collision with a truck, and he sends you up and over? So then you go down. And if it's a George Washington Bridge, you go down even further. And there are other bridges that are higher up. Meaning the room for error on a bridge is a lot less, because the depth of the fall is a lot more, and from under you normally don't make it out. This is what Rav Nachman Torah is telling them. He says, you look at the world, okay, Rabbi, what do you want from me? I did an Avera today, big deal. Everybody does it. You're missing the point. The world's a bridge. And when you fall off a bridge, one step, that's all it takes to fall off. Just one step. You fall to the depths, to the Tahoim. And from the Tahoim to get out is very, very tough. Oidcha Hashem Elokai b'chol levavi. Why? The pasuk continues at the end. Hichazdecha godol v'elo Hashem has big chasodim. Hitzalta nafshi, he saves us. Min she'oil tachtiyos. From the depths of the world. And this pasuk was meant for all of us. What do you mean we're not in the depths of the world? Adarab, we're from kids and everything looks pretty good actually. What does this show? The fact that we could even have such a question. We don't understand what an Avera is. We don't understand that an Avera is Shol Tachtis. And you need a special Chesed Hashem to be able to get out of that Shol Tachtis. And Baruch Hashem, God loves us, so He gives it to us every day. Or hundreds of times a day sometimes. But Be'etzem, that's what an Avera is, the narrow bridge. It's a very sharp story that just brings out the attitude towards mitzvahs and Averis a little bit. The Gamal once went into Rabbi Yashiv with a pair of tefillin that he bought. He spent a lot of money on it, and he wanted to see Rabbi Yashiv's opinion on the parshas. Rabbi Yashiv looked at it, and then he said, it's kosher, but b'di'evid. B'di'evid. So this guy, because he spent so much money, was happy to hear that it was kosher. He didn't lose his money. So he was about to walk out. He had a big smile on his face. Rabbi Yashiv saw, he called him back. He said, you gamanchik, you want to live your whole life in a b'di'evid? What are you, crazy? Go get new tefillin right away. Your whole life you want to live in a b'di'evid? I had this conversation today. I was in Miami last week. And somebody asked me a favor, a donor of the organization, to go to the new office to put up mezuzahs. Fine. You got to do it. So I went. The mezuzahs weren't for me, so I didn't know where they were from. So I wasn't going to put it on without seeing what it says inside. Because brachos levatol and things like that I don't like doing. So I took the first mezuzah, and the person tells me, an older, respectable doctor, a successful individual, look, it's a beautiful case, it looks good. I said, yeah, I don't care what's the case, I want to see what's inside. No, the store, they put it in already. I said, okay, we're going to take it out and put it back in soon. I could see the tension in the room. I was looking, I pull out the first one, I open it up. I don't know if it was written, printed, that I'm not sure. But one thing I know for sure is it wasn't kosher. I said, I'm sorry, this is not going up. She said, what do you mean? I said, if you want to put this up, you could do it. But for that, you don't need me. You could bring the Mexican from downstairs, the janitor, and let him put it up in his house. But in a Jewish office, this doesn't go up. He says, why? I said, look, let me show you that it's not kosher. I want to see. I said, look, show him a letter. The letter was missing part of it, so it looked like a different letter. And I said, that's not kosher. He says, Rabbi, I see you're too extreme for me. Big deal, a drop on the letter is missing. Who cares? He says, you never wrote and made a typo when you were typing? Or you never wrote a wrong letter with a spelling mistake when you wrote something? I said, yeah, I always do. Don't worry about it. He says, okay, so that's so fair. The guy who wrote it, so he's missing a corner. Big deal. So I told him, you know what? You're 100% right. On one condition. Can I stick you into the hospital? We'll stick a needle in, and we'll just take a little corner off your DNA. Or a little piece out of your brain. Just a little piece. One little piece. Smaller than the size of this. Just one. Are you crazy? I said, wait a second. You're this big. I want to take something microscopic out of you. And you're already looking at me like I fell off the roof. The mezuzah is this small. The letter is this small. And they took 20% of the letter off. And you're saying, big deal? Make up your mind. One mezuzah. So he says, okay, but what about the other ones? I said, listen, once I see the first one like this, no, let's go to the next one. I open the next one, same story. The next one I wasn't even willing to open, no mezuzahs. So somebody calls me today, very upset. I guess it's the salesman who sells these mezuzahs. You said my mezuzahs are not kosher, who are you to say that? And I looked at it again, and it is kosher, and this, and that. And he tells me, maybe it's not mehudr, maybe it's not so kosher or whatever, but kosher it is. So I told him, wait. I said, I'm not going to argue whether it's kosher or not, because maybe you're right, I'm not a sefer. But you yourself are saying, it's not mehudr, it may not be kosher, it's like shaky kosher, if yes. It is, just you made a few dollars on it, but other than that, there's nothing else here. You want me to tell people to put this onto their houses? Are you crazy? It doesn't make sense, I said, what you're saying. So you want these people to live their whole life with the Evid? He heard it. And he said, okay, you're right. So I try to get a commitment out of them that they'll stop selling these mezuzahs, period. So they use the famous excuse that people that don't have money and can't afford spending on an expensive mezuzah, at least they should have something, not nothing. So I right away answer a sharp answer to anybody who gives me that stupid excuse. I have an organization, it doesn't exist, but whatever. In case they need it, let them call me. That anybody who can't afford a mezuzah will gladly give them a kosher mezuzah. And not a b'diavad mezuzah l'chatchila. But that's the whole b'diavad Yiddishkeit movement, b'diavad this, b'diavad that. I have a friend who bought a brand new Mercedes S550, and I spent like $120,000 on it. And for some reason, it's very weird, these things normally don't happen in these cars. They forgot a certain computer chip inside the sound system, and the whole radio and CD chain, the whole thing doesn't work. Navigation, nothing works. He comes back to the dealer screaming. He was angry. $120,000 car, no jokes. The guy apologized 1,000 times. He says, there's no excuse. Excuse me. I paid you in full. He says, you're right. We'll compensate you. Because what? Because it was a b'diavad. The car drove without the CD and the radio working. And guess what? A car drives without the air conditioner working either. But we still all get our air conditioners fixed before the summer. Because you don't want to live b'diavad. Same thing in everything in life. Imagine a lady gives birth to a baby, so every few months or a month or whatever it is, you got to go to the doctor for well visits. At the beginning, you go very frequently. So they weigh the kid, they give him all these shots, the antivirals and this and everything you need, the vaccines. Now, if the kid's born 7 pounds and they bring him to the doctor 30 days later and he's still 7 pounds, the doctor starts worrying. What if they bring him 6 months later and he's still 7 pounds? Then we got a serious issue. And if the mother looks at the doctor and he says, but he's so cute, he says, you're right, lady, he is so cute, but he's very sick too. Because if he's not growing, something's seriously wrong. Yeah, so a lot of our day may be so cute and so much fun, but if we're not growing every day, then something's very sick. Hashem put us into the world to grow every day, and every day that we don't grow, then something's very sick. We're just like children that have to grow through life. The neshama every day grows through life. How do you grow through life? Also Mishnah knows. There's already Parakeh, it was more recent, so hopefully remember it better. Have a Kanomer, Kal Kanomer, Rotz Katzvi. Chazal teach us, by the way, that Tzvi is not the fastest animal that runs. There are faster. For example, Ayola. Right? You memorize Birkas Yaakov, Naftali Ayola Shlucha. Why? Because it was the fastest animal. Naftali was able to run that fast. So if anything, the Mishnah should have said, Eveirotz Kayola. Why do you say Eveirotz Katzvi? Good question. What's the difference between the way an Ayola runs and a Tzvi runs? An Ayola runs faster than a Tzvi, but blindly. Eyes closed and goes. It relies on its sensors. A Tzvi doesn't do that. A Tzvi looks left, right, straight, runs. Few feet, looks back to make sure everything's okay from behind too, continues. Comes the Mishnah and says, in life there's no time to waste. You got to run in your Yiddishkeit. Grow, push, forward all the time. But if you run like an Ayola, you'll rely, I'm okay, and I was raised from, I know what I'm doing, everything's okay. You're going to end up in a lot of accidents along the way. Don't run like Ayola. Slow down a little bit from that. Go down to the level of a Tzvi. Run, but do it cautiously. Look right, look left. Be careful. Watch the Yetzer Hara coming to get you from here, the Yetzer Hara coming to get you from there. Like this, you'll get somewhere. Now when I say get somewhere, I mean in the Pneumius. That's a big mistake. This is the Ilum HaSheker of today. Today we're so busy judging the colors that people dress in, and then the community that they belong to, quote unquote, and the shape or the formula of what their kippah is made out of, that we miss the whole pneumius of a person. It's very sad. So my uncle said, I'm going to take a mushal to bring out that point. He says he came home one day, and he sees his 5-year-old daughter preparing a box, a birthday present for her friend. And not stam a box, she has a big box, wrapped, covered completely. And he's thinking to himself, what did the kid do? What type of gift is she bringing her friend? Such a big thing. So he tells her, he says, hey, what's in there? What are you doing? So she chapped right away that her father is wondering what's going on. So he tells her, don't worry. So she tells him, Dad, don't worry. I just bought her a little hairband, but I put it in a big box, so, it should look like a nice gift. Nope. That's a kid's way of thinking. So my uncle, I remember, said right afterwards, he says he learned such a Musa Haskell from his daughter. And this is the way to succeed in life, by the way, to learn a Musa Haskell from every little thing that happens throughout the day. He says some people, on the outside, it looks good. They behave in a certain way when they're outside, they have a good name in Shidduchim, the resume looks good, best school, best seminary, good grades, everything's beautiful, good family, the whole idea. It's a big box. What's inside? Nothing. In a moment of truth, the Yitzhak comes and it all crumbles, a bunch of hare. So my uncle said that's pshat. That was one of his many pshatim in the Mishnah of Kol Yisrael Yeshem Chilek Le'olam Haba, which we said over the years a bunch of pshatim. He says you come to Olam Haba, and Hashem takes you, and He makes you the big box. Beautiful, you're a great Jewish kid, unbelievable. But then they also open up the gift, and they see what's inside. That's already Gehenna for some people. Yeah, the outside and the name and that, it's all important. Tov Shem Tov, beautiful. But what Hashem really wants is what's inside. What do I really think? What do I really feel? What do I really do b'chadrei chadorim when nobody sees? What do I do when I'm angry, when I'm upset? That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu tests a person. When everything looks good, what's the big deal? Take anybody and stick him into the perfect environment with the perfect friends and the perfect family and the perfect world. They'll do well, why not? Take a person, stick him into the most not perfect conditions. There, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, let's see if you love me or not. But life takes work, and a lot of work. And, the Yetzer Hara doesn't go to sleep. So my uncle had a chap on the way the Yetzer Hara works, and I've been applying this recently in my life, and I see how true it is, so I want to share this idea with you. He says that my uncle decided that the Yetzer Hara really, the Gemara says also, it's a Chazal, not a Gemara, that the Yetzer Hara comes b'machboi, like hiddenly. So in Hebrew there's a game called machbuim, we call it hide and seek. So the kid hides and his friend looks for him, and when I find you, so you're out, or whatever, game over, you're it, or whatever the words are. So my uncle said, when the Lashon of Chazal, that the Yetzer Hara comes b'machboi in a hidden way, raised to his mind the parallel between the game and the Yetzer Hara, and he says, in reality, that's what the Yetzer Hara does too. He hides, and he comes with all different chachmas and tricks in order to make you fall. But the moment you realize that he's doing it to you, and you say, I got you, and you're not going to do this to me, at that point, that's it. He lost, and he leaves. Till the next time. He doesn't fight you head on. He only fights you with the trick and with the chachma, making you feel this way and that way and the other way. The head-on fight he's not interested in. That's too much work for him. I'll go to the next person. And I started applying it, and I realized it. Can't get up in the morning, tired. It's over. Get up. What are you sleeping for? Hashem's waiting for you. The second you realize, wait, the Yetzer Hara wants me to sleep, boom, from there on, it's no big deal to get up already. It's until you don't realize that he's the one who's hiding behind everything, it's tough. Same thing in everything. I started applying it in every little area. It's unbelievable. It works like magic. Just the recognition, this is the Yetzer Hara doing this to me again. Boom, he goes away. He's not interested anymore. He lost his fight. That's what we really, it's an Eitzah. We could apply it to our lives, and you see that it works, it helps. And last but not least, we'll end off with a point, and then we'll answer the question that we started off with. God willing, those of you who are not engaged will be engaged soon, or at the right time for the really young ones. I say soon for everybody, and soon is a relative term. I've done Segel, the Mashgiach once told me that today there's all these conferences and conventions, Tom Masora has chinuch and this and that, all these stories, because there's serious problems going on. So what do? And an Eitzah nobody found. So he told me recently in a conversation that he found the Eitzah. I said, what? He said, we have to take all boys and girls and have them married by 16 max, and we'll solve all the generation's problems. Okay, I told him we have another problem, it's called the Shidduchim crisis, so that Eitzah won't work either. But okay, I don't know, I'm not sure if we understand what that means, but whatever. But I get engaged, and the chusson comes with a nice gift, big box, a little bracelet inside. And today, the fancy of the store is, you ever saw the way a bracelet comes from Tiffany? It's wrapped in a big oak box with a ribbon, and it's a whole ASIC over there. And even the box is impressive. And you open it up, and you're so busy looking at the box and turning it this way and that way to see the fancy box that you just got. In the meantime, the bracelet falls on the floor, and the maid sweeps it up, and it goes to the garbage. My uncle said, like Hakadosh Baruch Hu does the same thing. He gave us a box, a goof, and it's a sophisticated toy. And it's a very advanced toy. It's unbelievable, and it's good. It's good stuff. And some people are confident in the way they look, so it's a double good box. Unbelievable. And he's so busy with the box, because it's impressive. It's not impressive, it's impressive. Matana Hashem gave you. And you forget the little neshama inside, it falls out on the way, it gets swept up with the Yitzhak, and it's all over. Smart person first looks for the valuable thing, and then you also pay attention to the wrapping, to this, to that. But that comes out of achlotas sichlis. Comes the Rabbanu Shalom, gives us a bracha. A bracha that includes all the brachas of the Torah. Money. But not money for its face value. No, money's a nice thing to have, but we can do without too. Or without a lot. He gives you a bracha that is a linked bracha. Money, I'll watch over it. What does that mean? Hashem comes to you and says this. What do most people in their life invest most of their life in? Making $1, right? Work very hard to make money. Today the retirement age keeps on going up. People really sweat it out to make money. By the time we'll retire, I don't know if we'll be able to anymore because the president said Social Security, they're also going bankrupt soon. So, we work hard. I see 80-year-old people going to the office every morning, 40, 50 hours a week. They're working. What for? Money. And rightfully so. Was a klala that we're machmir on. We have to make a living. Comes Hashem and says, pay attention. What you invest most of your life into money, there's no guarantee you'll succeed. Most people at work don't succeed. And even if you succeed, I can take it away from you in 1 second. And today we see it day in, day out. People have had it all, and today they have nothing. Mamash not, to a crazy extreme. I had a guy comes to me, a few years ago, he was one of my biggest donors in my organization. Recently, he came to me to ask me if I can give him $1,000 so he could buy food for Yant. There's a person who a few years ago gave hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to tzedakah. Yardim. Today we see it. Hashem comes to the person and says, look what's going on. Money which you invest your whole life into and you put your whole kishkas into, in 1 second, I take it away from you. It's gone. And the only way you're going to have it is v'yishmerecha. You need a bracha not only to make money, that's not enough. You need to make a special bracha that Hashem should constantly watch over the money that you made, that the listim shouldn't be able to get a hold of it, and you'll be successful and have it. Because without that, you're going to lose it all. Comes the Rabbanu Shalom and says, take this as a lesson. Make money. A lot of money, I'll send you bracha. But realize that everything materialistic you have in life could be gone in a second and is worthless. And it's only worth if I watch it. And therefore, that's going to bring you to the recognition of let me spend my energy, my time, my koichas into something that nobody can take away from me. Everything you did today, somebody can take away from you. Your work, your education, everything. 45 or 55 minutes Torah that we just learned, there's nothing in the world that could ever take it away. It's yours forever. The chesed that you might have done in the afternoon, nobody can take it away. It's yours forever. That's the bracha. learn from the bracha that's necessary for money to invest time in things that you don't need that bracha for, that are so much more valuable. And a person who takes that to real life and applies it into day-to-day life is very, very successful. I end off with a story that I heard from the Rav of Safra Shul in Aventura, in Turnberry, a week ago. Shocking. It's a story that's happy, sad at the same time. A woman in the shul, which God willing will have a miracle soon, is very not well. And she needs a complicated surgery which is extremely costly. And she doesn't have the money to pay for the surgery. So one of the Bikur Chaylims here in New York was approached to assist financially to pay for this medical bill. And there's a form that has to be filled out, a name, an address, so you can verify the cause and if it's legit and so on and so forth. And when they give the name of the person and an address, so the lady says, I'm sorry, I can't continue processing the application. I'm going to have the manager, the boss, whatever his title is, call back. A couple of minutes later, the big shot of the organization calls back, and he says to the person on the other line, are you sure that the cause is legitimate? So he says, yes, I'm sure. So he says, how are you sure? So he says, I know the person, I know everything about it. He says, I'll tell you why I'm asking. Because as soon as we put in the name, it popped up. She's on our high donor list. So what do you mean? So 6 years ago, she gave us, I think it was $1.5 million or something like that. It's very rare we randomly get checks from out of state at such numbers. The guy says, could be you got it. I don't know. I never knew she gave such money in tzedakah, but I know she used to be rich. And she lost everything. She almost doesn't have a dollar now. He says, of course we're helping her, paying the whole bill, not just part. I mean, she supported us, so it's the least you could do. So on one hand, it's shocking that a person can go from so high to so low. And also sometimes they raise questions. Here, she gave tzedakah, this, that, what happened? Okay, topic on its own. On the other hand, this is a pasuk, and davening and everything. Zayrei tzedakos, matzmiach yeshuos. This woman years ago gave tzedakah, and she thought she was giving a donation and goodbye. And really Hashem then already planted her Yeshua that one day when she won't have money, at least the money for her surgery she will have, in the merit of the fact that years before she gave it to tzedakah. If she would have held on to that money, she would have lost it with the rest of her money, she wouldn't have that either. The time we invest in valuable causes is the result of that is going to stay with us forever. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us. And if we take that home and put this all together, you'll see, you'll be successful. Success is not far away, it's so close, it's unbelievable how close it is. It's just a matter of believing I can do it, understanding the responsibility, and most of all understanding the greatness that it is to be